Yo, what's up guys? Yeah, pokeaim here with another Pokemon Sword and Shield moveset video guide on how to use Galarian Darmanitan. If you guys have missed any of my previous moveset video guides, there is a playlist down below. I've also uploaded Showdown lives featuring the Pokemon that I've talked about thus far, and you can check them out. I uploaded a Thievul, Choice Specs Thievul showcase earlier today. And if you're new to the channel, hello, I'm Joey. I play competitive Pokemon. I love to play it. I upload Wi-Fi battles, Showdown lives, moveset video guides, and guides for Pokemon Sword and Shield as well, coming soon, so feel free to subscribe. Now today we're going to be talking about Galarian Darmanitan. If you guys didn't know, Galarian Darmanitan is Ice type, and it retains pretty much these same stats as a regular Darmanitan. However, it does have this new ability called Guerrilla Tactics, and that is incredibly good because it basically gives Darmanitan a free choice band without holding a choice band. And the way that works is it boosts your attack, but you can only click the move that you've clicked when you're in. So let's say I have Darmanitan in turn 1 and I click Icicle Crash. I'm locked into Icicle Crash as if I have a choice item. Now this works really well for Galarian Darmanitan because it actually stacks with choice items, meaning I have the Guerrilla Tactics boost for my attack and I have a choice band for my attack as well. Or if I use a choice scarf Galarian Darmanitan, it effectively has the same attack stat as if it was choice band and didn't have Guerrilla Tactics. So really cool for Galarian Darmanitan, making it such a huge threat. And I think this is the most common set right now that's being ran, but it's Jolly Choice Scarf, and this boosts its speed times 1.5. And the reason we're running Jolly over something like Adamant, though you can run Adamant, is because Choice Scarf Rotom Wash is rising in popularity, and being Jolly nature, you're able to outspeed it. And Icicle Crash is a 2-hit KO with Guerrilla Tactics on offensive Choice Scarf Rotom Wash. It's crazy, and you do a lot with U-Turn as well. But yeah, it's also faster than Choice Scarf Excadrill and Pokemon around that speed tier. It still has Darmanitan's Flare Blitz, which is awesome for Steel types. We have U-Turn, which is Momentum. Our main move is going to be Icicle Crash, which is what we'll be clicking. It is incredibly threatening. And then Earthquake is our next move, and this gives us a way of touching Toxapex, which otherwise resist all 3 of our other moves. And with Guerrilla Tactics, it's really, really strong, also hitting Pokemon like Tyranitar as well. Just Jolly, max speed, max HP, and the stats on the side you see on the EV spread are what you would get if you get it level 100 and you have 31 all your IVs. Now, of course, if you have a Choice Scarf Darmanitan, you gotta run a Choice Band Darmanitan as well. And this is what I'm talking about. Guerrilla Tactics stacks with that Choice Band, making Icicle Crash effectively a nuke on this Pokemon. It is basically a nuke on this Pokemon. Rotom takes like 96% minimum if it's offensive, if I'm not mistaken. Pokemon like our Araquanid are 2-hit KO'd. And it's just incredibly strong, and we're still going Jolly nature. We want to be faster than Pokemon that are common in the metagame. Again, max speed Rotom, max speed Excadrill, and Pokemon around that regard. Flare Blitz hits incredibly hard with the Choice Band for the Steel types that resist the Icicle Crash and U-Turn. This time we also have Facade, and Facade is really cool because if you actually switch it on a Rotom and they go for Will-O-Wisp on you, you still retain Facade's max power as if you weren't burnt. Otherwise, your other attacks are weakened because of the burn, but Facade becomes 140 base power, and it doesn't care about the burn. So it's really, really nice on Galarian Darmanitan because it gives you a way of dealing with Pokemon when you're statused. This is why we have it over Earthquake. Though if you wanted to on the Choice Scarf set, you could technically run Facade as well because they do the same exact thing. Choice Band obviously just hits way harder like a truck, whereas Choice Scarf is still pretty nice because it's Guerrilla Tactics. And the last item we have, and again, this isn't much of a change in terms of movesets. I think this is a standard of what you will see. Maybe you can use Ice Punch if you want, if you don't want to miss. I don't see a reason to use Stone Edge when Icicle Crash, Flare Blitz, and U-Turn are given, and then Facade is such a good move with Earthquake. One or the other is just completely fine. But you can run it with the Heavy Duty Boots. And what the Heavy Duty Boots do is it prevents you from taking hazard damage. So Galarian Darmanitan is an Ice type. Means that it takes 25% from Stealth Rock, and obviously it's also a grounded Pokemon, which means it takes damage from spikes, toxic spikes, and is hurt by the webs. But the heavy duty boots allow you to avoid the traps on the field, meaning you can come in and the only recoil you should be taking is when you use Flare Blitz. So this is really, really nice, allowing you to use multiple attacks. It still has the same damage output as a Choice Scarf Galarian Darmanitan. You're just slower, and it's still weaker than the Choice Band set. Now the last set is really interesting because it's for Zen Mode Darmanitan, which there's a little bit of like, oh, this Pokemon isn't released. It says it on Cerebi, but then I got a screenshot today of someone fighting a Dynamax Darmanitan and it being in Zen Mode. So I'm not entirely sure. And I also saw Duncan Knee Deep using Galarian Darmanitan in a raid battle as well. So I'm assuming it is alive and around in the game, and it is legal. So assuming it is, we'll be talking about this Pokemon a little bit. Now this mon is a little bit different than regular Darmanitan. It's Zen Mode Darmanitan, and the way this activates is regular Darmanitan with Zen Mode, or excuse me, Galarian Darmanitan with Zen Mode needs to be at 50% of its max HP in order for Zen Mode to activate. And what Zen Mode does is basically a transformation for Darmanitan. In this case, it becomes Ice and Fire types. So it now gains stab on the Fire type attacks. And that's really nice when paired with Ice, because besides Water, it helps Ice deal with typings that it doesn't really like. Like, for example, Steel. And in Fire's case, obviously Ice helps it deal with some typings it doesn't like either, like Dragon, for instance. So it's really nice when they're paired together. And it gets an increase in both attack and speed. Going to 160 attack, and as you guys can see real quick, we just went from 140 attack and 95 speed to 160 attack and base 135 speed, meaning that with a speed boosting nature like Jolly, for instance, and max speed IVs and max speed EVs, you will hit 405 speed on Galarian Darmanitan in Zen Mode and 419 attack with a neutral attacking nature. Now again, this Pokemon can only happen if you're at 50% of HP. So there's a few ways you could do it. The way I'm going to talk about is this one. I'll talk about another one as well. But we're running a Salac Berry on this, and you'll understand why in a sec. We're going to be using Substitute Belly Drum on this Pokemon. Substitute takes off 25% of your HP. Belly Drum takes another 50% off. When you're running the 4 HP EVs, which would give you 352 HP, that's divisible by 4. So you'll be able to go for a substitute and get your berry after you go for sub and belly drum. And the cool thing about Galarian Darmanitan is it doesn't really have switch-ins, but if your opponent obviously has a key Pokemon on the field, for instance, let's say they have an Aegislash on the field, all right, and they have a Rotom Wash in the back, they're more than likely going to switch out on a potential Flare Blitz or anything like that, just because they don't want to take it. Maybe not Aegislash wasn't the best example, but they have Feral Thorn on the field, right? They have Feral Thorn on this field. You have Galarian Darmanitan out, and you go for sub as they go out to Rotom. You go for Belly Drum, which activates your Salac Berry and also transforms you into Zen Mode, giving you stab on both your fire and ice type attacks. So that's an example of how it can work. And obviously, Salac Berry is really cool because you have 405 speed. It's really, really, really tough for Pokemon to revenge kill you, which is basically take you out after you've taken out a Pokemon for them, or take you out after they've gotten in safely. Unless they have priority, because you have 405 speed, and the Salac Berry, when you get to that 25%, is going to give you 1.5 times that speed. So again, unless somebody is running like a Choice Scarf Dragapult or something, Galarian Darmanitan should be faster than everything. Now, I think this was one way to use it. I honestly think, just like Zen Mode Darmanitan for regular Darmanitan and not Galarian, it's kind of gimmicky to use. Obviously, though, this one is just a lot better because regular Zen Mode Darmanitan is incredibly slow, whereas this one, they just buffed it. They gave it not only a secondary typing, but also the they already had, but they gave it that secondary typing, and they just buffed its speed and its attack. So it might actually be worth, and it might not be a gimmick that much. I think this thing is obviously a threat. Now, you can run coverage. You don't have to run Fire Punch and Ice Punch. Like I mentioned, you are obviously resisted by water, for one. So a few options are, Earthquake is still there. Like Earthquake with Ice Punch is still good. Earthquake with Fire Punch is still good together. But you're getting +6 attack. Remember, you're getting +6 attack when you're clicking Belly Drum. So it can still do a ton, even to resisted hits. You'd have to run some calcs. But a Pokemon like Toxapex, for instance, would be able to eat. So Earthquake can be used to be able to deal with that. And it just pairs really well with like Fire plus Ground Stab, or, well, Fire Stab plus a ground move, or Ice Stab plus a ground move pair decently well together. And also just giving you neutral hits on those water types, especially those bulky water types, or super effective hit on that bulky water type that is Toxapex. Now, a few other options. Again, this is only ran on Zen Mode, which is its hidden ability. You don't have to necessarily run sub Belly Drum in order to get into Zen Mode. One thing you could do is bring in Darmanitan on rocks, for instance, and then use Flare Blitz on a Pokemon. Take the recoil from Flare Blitz, not in the heavy duty boot set, obviously, because you need to take Stealth Rock damage, right? And then you can go for Flare Blitz, and maybe that'll bring on their 50%, and then you can get your mode. Of course, though, that's only on our Galarian Darmanitan. So it would be only on this Pokemon that has this ability, which is Zen Mode. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, a few teammates. In terms of teammates for just Galarian Darmanitan, it's just such a great Pokemon. Honestly, anything that appreciates getting in or Rotom Weaken. I love running Galarian Darmanitan when I was using it with Gyarados, because it basically threatens something like Ferrothorn. It also gets the chip damage on Rotom, and especially if it's Scarf Rotom. Like if I go for Ice Go Crash with my choice Scarf Darmanitan, for instance, and they bring out that Rotom, I'm 2-hit KOing them. I'm 2-hit KO. I do like 56% minimum to offensive Rotom, which is amazing because even though Gyarados did get power up this generation, Rotom can still check it since it's choice Scarf. But I outspeed that. And also, being Ice type, you no longer are weak to the Hydro Pump that Rotom can go for because you're not Fire type anymore. So it's really nice in being able to deal with that. And I also like using it with a Pokemon like Dragapult, for instance. Again, being able to weaken, same thing, Ferrothorn, Corviknight if I'm using a Choice Band set as well, because I 2-hit KO basically the entire tier with this mon, or Okoe if I'm using a Choice Band set. But yeah, that's my moveset guide on Galarian Darmanitan. Tomorrow I should be having a Showdown live featuring it, and earlier today I put up a Showdown live with Thievul, so if you guys want to check that out, feel free to, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye, my friends.